In the early morning hours of an ordinary Tuesday, Marcus Johnson began his day like any other, waking before dawn, quietly getting ready, and touching the small photo of his daughter Sophia on his dashboard before starting his Uber shift. Der Pooh, former science teacher, had no way of knowing that this seemingly routine morning would completely transform his family's life. As the sun rose over Austin, Texas, Marcus picked up his first passenger, a tech worker who mentioned rumors of Elon Musk being in town. Minutes later, his Uber app pinged with a pickup request from the luxurious Four Seasons Hotel downtown. Little did he know, this pickup would change his life forever. Marcus Johnson's alarm beeped at 4:30 a.m. He reached over and turned it off before it woke up Maria, who was still fast asleep. The early morning darkness filled their small apartment in East Austin. Marcus moved quietly, a routine he had perfected over the last 3 years. In the bathroom, he splashed cold water on his face and stared at his reflection. At 42, the lines around his eyes had deepened. His short, curly hair showed flecks of gray that weren't there when he was teaching science at Eastside High School. Another day, he whispered to himself. By 5 a.m., Marcus was dressed in his usual outfit, a clean blue button-down shirt and khaki pants. He grabbed his phone, keys, and the lunch Maria had packed for him the night before. Before leaving, he peeked into Sophia's room. His 12-year-old daughter was sleeping peacefully, her dark curls spread across the pillow. Medical equipment sat on her bedside table, a reminder of why he started driving for Uber in the first place. He gently closed her door and headed out. The streets of Austin were quiet at this hour. Marcus climbed into his 2012 Toyota Camry, which had just passed 150,000 miles. He wiped the dashboard with a cloth, making sure everything was clean for his passengers. Then, he reached for the small silver frame attached to his dashboard. Inside was a photo of Sophia, smiling widely on her 10th birthday before she got sick. Marcus touched the frame gently, the same way he did every morning. "Let's make it a good day, Soph," he said. He turned on the Uber app and waited for his first ride. The early morning hours were usually busy with airport runs and people heading to early shifts. Marcus liked starting early. It meant he could finish in time to pick up Sophia from school and take her to her doctor appointments. His phone pinged at 5:20 a.m. A passenger named Alex needed a ride from South Congress to the Austin Convention Center. Marcus accepted and started driving. 15 minutes later, he pulled up to a modern apartment building. A young man with a laptop bag came out and got in the back seat. "Good morning," Marcus said with a smile. "Heading to the convention center?" "Yes, thanks," Alex replied, stifling a yawn. "Got to set up for a tech conference. South by Southwest is still months away, but there's always something happening in Austin." Marcus nodded, pulling carefully into the light morning traffic. "Any particular conference today?" "It's a renewable energy symposium," Alex said, perking up. "Lots of big companies showing off their latest tech. I heard Tesla might make a surprise announcement." Marcus's ears perked up at the mention of Tesla. Back when he was teaching, he had used Tesla as an example in his environmental science classes. The students had always been fascinated by electric cars and renewable energy. "Really? Is Elon Musk going to be there?" Marcus asked, trying to keep his voice casual. Alex laughed. "Nobody knows for sure, but there's a rumor he flew into Austin last night. The company's been pretty quiet about it, which usually means something big is happening." Marcus nodded, thinking about the massive Tesla Gigafactory that had opened just outside of Austin. He'd never seen it up close, but he'd read that it was one of the biggest buildings in the world. "Well, I hope it goes well," Marcus said, as he pulled up to the convention center. The glass building was already bustling with workers setting up for the day's events. "Thanks for the ride," Alex said, getting out. "Have a good day." "You too," Marcus replied. As Alex walked away, Marcus checked his earnings on the app. He needed to make at least $150 today to help cover Sophia's new medication. Insurance helped, but there were always extra costs. He took a deep breath and set his goal in the app. The morning sun was just starting to rise over Austin, casting an orange glow on the city skyline. Marcus took a moment to appreciate the view before his phone pinged again. A new ride request had come in. The pickup location was the Four Seasons Hotel downtown, one of the fanciest hotels in Austin. Marcus accepted the ride and pulled away from the curb, wondering what kind of person would be needing a ride from such a fancy place this early in the morning. Little did he know, this pickup would change his life forever. Marcus navigated through Austin's morning traffic toward the Four Seasons Hotel. The gleaming tower stood tall against the brightening sky. As he got closer, he noticed something unusual. Several black SUVs were parked near the entrance, and men with earpieces stood watching the area. A few news vans were parked across the street. Must be someone important staying there, Marcus thought as he pulled up to the hotel entrance. A security guard approached his car, and Marcus rolled down his window. "I'm here for an Uber pickup," he explained, showing his phone with the active ride. The guard nodded. "Pull over there and wait," he said, pointing to a spot near the entrance. Marcus did as instructed and turned off his engine. He checked his appearance in the rearview mirror and brushed some lint off his shirt. The Four Seasons meant a high-end customer, and Marcus always tried to make a good impression. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Marcus was about to call the passenger when a young woman in a neat business suit hurried out of the hotel and approached his car. She knocked on his window. "Are you Marcus?" she asked. "Yes, that's me," he replied. "Perfect. Mr. Musk will be out in just a moment. Please stay right here." Marcus's heart skipped a beat. "Mr. Musk? As in Elon Musk?" The woman smiled. "Yes, he prefers Uber sometimes. Says it helps him stay connected to how regular people live. Please don't post about this on social media." Before Marcus could respond, the hotel doors opened. A small group of people emerged, surrounding a tall man in a black t-shirt and jeans. Even from a distance, Marcus recognized him immediately. The Tesla CEO was unmistakable. Marcus sat up straighter, suddenly very aware of his old Toyota Camry with its worn seats and the small crack in the windshield he'd been meaning to fix. The group approached the car, and the door opened. Elon Musk slid into the back seat. "Good morning," Elon said casually, as if it were completely normal to get into an Uber driven by a former science teacher. "The Gigafactory, please," Marcus nodded, trying to keep his voice steady. "Good morning, sir. Tesla Gigafactory. Got it." He entered the destination into his GPS, though he already knew the way. The massive factory was about 15 miles east of downtown Austin. As Marcus pulled away from the hotel, he could see reporters trying to take photos. One of Elon's security guards was following them in a black SUV. "They always find out where I'm staying," Elon said, looking at his phone. "No matter how quietly I come into town." "It must be hard to have privacy," Marcus replied, carefully merging onto the highway. "It's part of the job," Elon shrugged. Then he looked up and seemed to notice Marcus for the first time. "How long have you been driving for Uber?" "About 3 years now," Marcus answered. "Full-time?" "Yes, sir," Elon nodded. "What did you do before this?" Marcus hesitated. He didn't usually share much about his past with passengers, but this wasn't a normal situation. "I was a high school science teacher for 15 years, he said. "I taught physics and environmental science at Eastside High." Elon looked genuinely interested. A science teacher? That's not the usual background for Uber drivers I meet. Why the change? Marcus gripped the steering wheel a little tighter. It's a long story. We've got 20 minutes to the factory, Elon replied, and I'm curious about electric vehicles. Have you considered buying one? A used Leaf or Bolt, maybe? Marcus smiled slightly. I've been saving up, actually. Electric cars make a lot of sense, especially in this job. The gas costs eat up a lot of my earnings. What's stopping you? Elon asked. Well, they're still expensive, even used ones, and my savings have to go to other priorities first. Elon was quiet for a moment, looking out the window as they passed the Colorado River. Then he asked, "So, why did you leave teaching? You didn't answer earlier." Marcus glanced at Sophia's photo on his dashboard. He took a deep breath. Family. Reasons, he said simply. I needed a job with more flexible hours. Elon followed Marcus's glance to the photo. Your daughter? Marcus nodded. Sophia. She's 12. She's the reason you need flexibility? Elon asked. The directness of the question caught Marcus off guard. Most passengers didn't dig this deep, but there was something about Elon's tone. Genuine curiosity rather than just making conversation. Yes, Marcus admitted. But it's working out. Driving lets me be there when she needs me. They were on Highway 130 now, heading east. In the distance, the enormous Gigafactory was becoming visible, a massive structure stretching nearly a mile long. That's quite a sight, Marcus said, changing the subject. It is, Elon agreed, looking at the factory with pride. One of the largest buildings in the world by volume, over 10 million square feet. We employ more than 10,000 people. There now. I used to teach my students about Tesla, Marcus said. They were always fascinated by the technology. Oh, Elon seemed intrigued. What did you tell them? About how electric vehicles and solar power could change the world, Marcus said, his voice growing more animated. We even built small, solar-powered cars for a state competition. Elon smiled. Did you win? Second place, Marcus said proudly. My students worked so hard on that project. They were approaching the Gigafactory entrance now, where security guards stood at attention. Marcus slowed. Down! Don't stop here, Elon said. Drive to the executive entrance. I want you to come inside with me. Marcus blinked in surprise. Inside? But I should get back to work. More riders. I'll make it worth your time, Elon interrupted. Besides, you've taught about Tesla. Don't you want to see it in person? Marcus looked up at the enormous building. He'd always wondered what it was like inside. Yes, he admitted. I would. Marcus followed Elon's directions, driving past the main entrance toward a smaller, secured gate on the east side of the massive complex. As they drove, Marcus couldn't help but marvel at the size of the building. It seemed to stretch endlessly, with solar panels covering the roof. We call it Giga Texas, Elon said, noticing Marcus's awe, though some of the team calls it the Gigafactory Texas, or simply Giga Austin. Did you know it's as big as 100 football fields put together? That's incredible, Marcus replied. I read somewhere that it's one of the largest buildings in the world. By volume, yes, Elon confirmed. We needed the space. This is where we make the Model Y and the Cybertruck. As they approached the executive entrance, Marcus gathered his courage. Mr. Musk, can I ask why you wanted me to come inside? I'm just an Uber driver. Elon smiled. First, call me Elon. And second, you're not just an Uber driver. You're a science teacher who's now driving Uber. That's interesting to me. Marcus gripped the steering wheel tighter. I was a science teacher. Not anymore. Why did you leave? Elon asked directly. You clearly loved it. I can hear it in your voice when you talk about your students. Marcus was quiet for a moment. The question hung in the air between them. It's complicated, he finally said. I left teaching about 3 years ago. My daughter, Sophia. He nodded toward the photo on his dashboard. She needed me to have a more flexible schedule. Is she okay? Elon asked, his tone softening. Marcus took a deep breath. He rarely talked about this with strangers, but something about Elon's direct manner made it easier. She has a rare autoimmune condition. It started when she was 9. Some days are better than others. The hospital visits can be unpredictable, and as a teacher, I couldn't just leave my classroom whenever she needed me. I understand, Elon said quietly. Family comes first. They pulled up to the security gate. A guard approached, recognized Elon immediately, and waved them through. Park over there. Elon pointed to a spot marked Executive Visitors. As Marcus parked, he checked the time. It was only 7:30 a.m. Normally, he'd be picking up his 3rd or 4th passenger by now. I should probably get back to driving soon, he said. I need to make enough today to cover. He stopped himself. To cover what? Elon asked. Sophia's new medication, Marcus admitted. Insurance helps, but there are always extra costs. Elon nodded thoughtfully. Let's take a quick tour, and then we'll figure something out. I want to show you what we're doing here. As they walked toward the entrance, Elon asked, Does your daughter share your interest in science? Marcus smiled, his first genuine smile of the day. Even more than I do. She's brilliant. Before she got sick, she was already talking about becoming an engineer or a doctor. Now, she's even more determined. How old is she? 12. She's in 7th grade when she's well enough to attend school. They reached the entrance, where a security guard held the door open. Good morning, Mr. Musk. Morning, Dave, Elon replied. This is Marcus. He's my guest today. Marcus nodded politely to the guard as they entered the building. The lobby was sleek and modern, with a massive Tesla logo on the wall and a Model Y displayed in the center. This is just the beginning, Elon said. Wait until you see the main production floor. As they walked through the building, Elon explained more about the factory. We have over 10,000 employees here now. When we're at full capacity, we'll produce about 500,000 vehicles per year. That's more than 1,300 cars every day. Marcus calculated quickly. Elon looked impressed. Exactly. The physics teacher still has his math skills. They passed through a series of corridors, each requiring Elon's badge to access. Marcus noticed people stopping to stare as they walked by, clearly surprised to see their CEO with a stranger. Done. You always give tours to your Uber drivers? Marcus asked. Elon laughed. No, you're the first, but I'm following my instincts here. They approached another security door, and Elon swiped his badge. This is where it gets interesting, he said as the door opened. Marcus gasped as they stepped onto a massive production floor. Hundreds of workers in Tesla uniforms moved around enormous machines. Robotic arms swung parts into place, while partially assembled cars moved slowly along an assembly line. This is where we build the Model Y, Elon explained. From raw materials to finished vehicle, almost everything happens under this roof. It's amazing, Marcus said, watching the precise movements of the robots. I wish my students could see this. They would love it. You miss teaching, Elon observed. It wasn't a question. Every day, Marcus admitted. But Sophia needs me more. They continued walking through the factory. Elon greeted workers by name as they passed, occasionally stopping to ask about specific processes or issues. "How's the new paint system working, Angela?" he asked a woman overseeing a massive robotic painting station. "Much better after the adjustments, sir," she replied. "Efficiency is up 18% this week." As they walked, Elon continued to ask Marcus about his teaching career and his family. Marcus found himself opening up more than he expected. "Maria, my wife, works as a nurse at Dell Children's Hospital. She's amazing. Works night shifts 3 days a week, so one of us is always with Sophia." "How did you two meet?" Elon asked. "Kamadata, the same hospital where Sophia gets her treatments. Maria was a nurse in the pediatric ward when I brought in a group of students for a science outreach program. We started talking and—" Marcus smiled at the memory. The rest is history. They reached the end of the production line, where completed Model Y vehicles were undergoing final quality checks. "Marcus," Elon said, stopping suddenly, "there's something I want to show you in the next building. It's a new project we're working on." As they walked toward another large door, Marcus checked his watch. He'd been at the factory for almost an hour. "I really should get back to work soon," he said. "I appreciate the tour, but—" "Just a few more minutes," Elon insisted. "There's something you need to see." The door opened to reveal a large room with a vehicle covered by a black cloth in the center. Several Tesla employees stood nearby, looking nervous and excited. "What's this?" Marcus asked. "You'll see," Elon replied with a smile. "But first, tell me something. If you could go back to teaching, would you?" Marcus thought for a moment. "In a heartbeat. If Sophia was better, if I could be sure I wouldn't have to choose between my students and my daughter. Yes, I would." Elon nodded, as if confirming something to himself. "That's what I thought. Come with me." Marcus followed Elon toward the covered vehicle. Several employees stepped aside, watching curiously as their CEO led the stranger in the Uber driver's outfit across the room. "Before we get to this," Elon said, gesturing to the covered object, "I want to show you more of what we're doing here." Ituri, led Marcus through another door into what looked like the heart of the factory. The space was enormous, with high ceilings and bright lights. Hundreds of workers moved with purpose alongside sophisticated robots and machinery. "This is our main production area," Elon explained. "Everything you see here was designed to be as efficient and sustainable as possible." Marcus watched in awe as giant metal presses stamped out car parts from aluminum sheets. Nearby, robots welded pieces together with precision. "We use a single-piece casting machine for the front and rear body," Elon said, pointing to a massive machine. "It's the largest in the world. Instead of welding 70 pieces together like traditional car manufacturers, we cast the entire front and rear sections in one piece." "That's incredible," Marcus said. "It must save a lot of time and materials." "Exactly," Elon replied. "Less waste, faster production, stronger car." As they walked, Marcus noticed a section where workers were assembling battery packs. "The battery is the heart of our vehicles," Elon explained. "We make our own cells now, which gives us more control over the quality and reduces costs." "How far can your cars go on a single charge?" Marcus asked. "Our latest Model Y can go up to 330 miles, Elon answered. "But we're working on batteries that could eventually reach 500 miles or more." Marcus thought about his old Toyota. "That's amazing. I have to fill up my car every other day with all the driving I do. The gas costs are a big part of my expenses." "Electric vehicles make a lot of sense for drivers like you," Elon said. "The savings on fuel and maintenance are significant." They continued walking through the factory. Marcus noticed how Elon would stop to talk with workers, asking detailed questions about their processes or suggestions for improvements. "You seem to know everyone's name," Marcus observed after Elon greeted a group of engineers. "Not everyone," Elon admitted. "We have over 10,000 people working here now, but I try to learn as many as I can. These people are building the future." They approached a testing area where completed cars were being run through various quality checks. Each car goes through about 500 quality tests before it leaves the factory, Elon explained. "We check everything from the paint thickness to how the doors sound when they close." Marcus watched as technicians meticulously inspected a blue model. "Why? You mentioned earlier that you taught environmental science," Elon said. "What got you interested in that field?" "I've always been concerned about climate change," Marcus replied. "I wanted my students to understand they could make a difference. We did projects on renewable energy, recycling, even built solar-powered model cars." "Did you ever take your students on field trips to see renewable energy in action?" Marcus nodded. "When I could. Budget cuts made it harder each year. But once, we visited a solar farm outside of Austin. The kids were amazed to see thousands of panels tracking the sun." Elon smiled. "That's exactly the kind of experience young people need. Seeing the technology in person makes it real for them." They entered another large room where battery cells were being manufactured. The process was largely automated, with robots handling most of the work. "These battery cells are our newest design," Elon explained. "They store more energy and charge faster than previous versions." Marcus thought about the solar panels on his classroom roof. "I had a small solar setup for my classroom. We used it to power a weather station and some computers. The students loved checking how much energy we were generating each day." "You sound like a great teacher," Elon said. "The kind that makes a real impact." "I tried," Marcus said, his voice quieter now. "I miss it every day." They walked in silence. For a moment, Marcus realized they had circled back to the room with the covered object. "You know," Elon said, "when I was younger, I had a teacher who changed my life. Mr. Jamal. He taught physics and believed in me when others didn't. Teachers like that, like you, they're so important." Before Marcus could respond, a woman in a Tesla uniform approached them. "Mr. Musk, everyone's ready when you are," she said. "Thank you, Sarah," Elon replied. "Give us 5 minutes." Sarah nodded and walked away. Marcus noticed more employees gathering in the room, forming a loose circle around the covered object. "What's happening?" Marcus asked. "We're making a small announcement today," Elon explained. "Nothing that will make the news, but important for our team here." Marcus checked his watch. "I should probably get back to my car soon. I've been off the app for over an hour now." "Just a few more minutes," Elon said. "There's something I want you to be part of." More employees continued to arrive, filling the room. Some were in manufacturing uniforms, others in business attire. They all seemed curious about Marcus. "Before we start," Elon said, turning to face Marcus directly, "there's something I've been wondering. You taught science for 15 years, right?" "Yes," Marcus replied. "Mostly physics and environmental science." "And you were good at it?" Marcus hesitated. "I think so. My students did well on their exams. Several went on to study engineering or environmental science in college." "Were you recognized for your work?" Elon pressed. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. He didn't like talking about his accomplishments. "I was named Teacher of the Year for my district once, and our solar car team won the state championship twice." Elon nodded, looking satisfied. "That's what I thought. Excellence leaves tracks." "Mr. Musk," Sarah called from across the room, "we're ready whenever you are." Elon turned to Marcus. "It's time. Come with me." Time for what? Marcus asked, suddenly nervous about being the center of attention. You'll see, Elon replied with a smile. He led Marcus toward the covered object in the center of the room. The employees fell silent as Elon and Marcus approached. Marcus felt dozens of eyes on him, wondering who he was and why their CEO had brought him here. Elon stopped next to the covered object and turned to address the room. Everyone, I'd like you to meet Marcus Johnson. Until 3 years ago, he was a science teacher at Eastside High School here in Austin. He taught his students about renewable energy, electric vehicles, and the importance of sustainable technology. Marcus stood awkwardly, wondering how Elon knew all this. He hadn't shared that many details about his teaching career. Now, Elon continued, Marcus drives for Uber to support his family, and today he happened to pick me up from my hotel. The crowd murmured with interest. Marcus felt his face growing warm. Sometimes, Elon said, the universe puts the right person in your path at just the right moment. He reached out and placed his hand on the black cloth covering the mysterious object. Marcus, I think it's time you saw what's under here. As Elon's hand moved toward the cloth, the room faded around Marcus. His mind drifted back to Eastside High School, 3 years earlier. The science lab at Eastside High was buzzing with activity. 24 students worked in small groups, their faces focused on the solar-powered model cars they were building. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, reflecting off the solar panels that Mr. Johnson, Marcus, had installed on the classroom roof the previous summer. Mr. J, I think we fixed the motor connection, called Miguel Rodriguez, a bright-eyed sophomore with a talent for engineering. His team had been struggling with their car's electrical system all week. Marcus walked over to their table, smiling. Let's see what you've got. Miguel proudly held up their car, a sleek design with tiny solar panels angled perfectly to catch the light. We rewired it like you suggested and added a capacitor to store extra energy. Smart thinking, Marcus Sivers said, examining their work. Let's test it. He helped the team set up their car on the test track, a long table near the window where direct sunlight created ideal conditions. When they placed the car down, it zoomed forward immediately. The whole class cheered. That's the fastest one yet, exclaimed Lisa Chen, Miguel's teammate. We might actually win state this year. Marcus checked his stopwatch. 0.8 seconds faster than last year's winner. You three might be onto something special here. The classroom. Walls were covered with science posters, student projects, and newspaper clippings. One headline stood out. Eastside High wins second place in state solar car competition. Next to it hung Marcus's Teacher of the Year certificate from the previous year. Remember, Marcus told the class as they continued working, the state competition is just 4 weeks away. We need to fine-tune these designs if we want to bring home the trophy this year. We've got this, Mr. J, Miguel said confidently. My dad's letting me use his garage this weekend to work on some ideas. Marcus smiled. In his 15 years of teaching, he'd never had a student as passionate about renewable energy as Miguel. The boy reminded Marcus of himself at that age, curious, determined, and believing that science could solve the world's biggest problems. After class, Marcus stayed late to grade lab reports. His phone buzzed with a text from Maria. Don't forget, Sophia has a doctor's appointment at 5:30. Marcus checked his watch. He had plenty of time. Sophia's regular checkups were part of their routine now, ever since she had battled pneumonia the previous winter. The doctor wanted to monitor her recovery closely. As Marcus packed up his materials, Principal Watkins stopped by his classroom. Those solar cars looking good this year? She asked. Better than ever, Marcus replied proudly. I think we might win state this time. That would be quite an accomplishment, Principal Watkins said. "The school board mentioned your program, specifically at the last meeting. They're impressed with how you've integrated renewable energy into the curriculum." "The students do all the hard work," Marcus said modestly. "Not true, and you know it," she laughed. "By the way, the STEM grant application was approved. You'll have funding for that field trip to the solar farm next semester." "That's fantastic news," Marcus exclaimed. "The kids will be thrilled." After Principal Watkins left, Marcus spent a few more minutes straightening up the classroom. On his desk sat a family photo: Maria, Sophia, and himself at Barton Springs Pool last summer. Sophia, then 9 years old, was missing her front teeth in the picture, her smile wide and carefree. Marcus felt a familiar wave of gratitude. He loved his family, he loved teaching, and he felt lucky every day to do work that mattered. The next morning, Marcus arrived early as usual. He liked having the classroom to himself before students arrived. Time to set up demonstrations, check equipment, and plan the day ahead. He was writing the day's objectives on the whiteboard when Miguel knocked on the door. "Mr. J, can I show you something?" "Of course, Miguel. You're here early." Miguel entered, carefully carrying what looked like an improved version of their solar car. "I worked on it all weekend. I changed the gear ratio and made the panels adjustable." Marcus examined the modifications, impressed by the boy's initiative. "This is excellent work, Miguel. The adjustable panels will help it perform better as the sun angle changes." "That's what I was thinking." Miguel's eyes lit up. "I want to study engineering in college. Maybe work for Tesla someday. With skills like yours, they'd be lucky to have you," Marcus said sincerely. The day proceeded normally. Physics with the seniors in the morning, followed by 2 environmental science classes. After lunch, Marcus was teaching his sophomore class about energy conversion when his phone vibrated in his pocket. Normally, he never checked his phone during class, but something made him glance at the screen. It was Maria calling. She never called during school hours unless it was an emergency. "Class, please continue reading section 3-4. I need to step outside for a moment," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. In the hallway, he answered the call. "Maria, what's wrong?" "It's Sophia." Maria's voice was tense, controlled. Her nurse's voice. "She collapsed at school. I'm in the ambulance with her now. We're heading to Dell Children's." Marcus felt his heart drop. "What happened? Is she okay?" "She has a high fever, and she's having trouble breathing. The school nurse thought it might be another pneumonia, but—" Maria hesitated. "Marcus, they're worried it might be something else. Can you meet us at the hospital?" "I'm on my way," he said, immediately. Marcus returned to the classroom, his mind racing. "Class, I have a family emergency and need to leave. Mr. Davis from next door will be coming in to supervise. Please continue with the reading and complete the worksheet on page 87. The students looked up in surprise. Mr. Johnson never left class. "Early. Is everything okay, Mr. J?" Miguel asked, concern in his eyes. "I hope so," Marcus replied, gathering his things quickly. "I'll see you all tomorrow." As he hurried to his car, Marcus had no way of knowing that this would be his last day as a teacher at Eastside High School. He had no way of knowing that the doctors would discover Sophia's rare autoimmune condition that day, a condition that would require frequent hospital visits, specialized care, and a parent who could be available at a moment's notice. He had no way of knowing that within a week he would be sitting in Principal Watkins's office, resignation letter in hand, explaining that he needed to find work with more flexible hours. He had no way of knowing that the solar car team would go on to win the state championship that year, led by Miguel Rodriguez, who would dedicate the victory to Mr. J, who taught us that science can change lives. And he certainly had no way of knowing that 3 years later, he would be standing in the Tesla Gigafactory, about to have his life changed again. Marcus blinked, returning to the present moment as Elon gripped the edge of the black cloth. "Irie, you ready?" Elon asked. Marcus nodded, unsure what to expect, but feeling a strange sense that something important was about to happen. With a dramatic flourish, Elon pulled off the cloth. There, gleaming under the bright factory lights, was a brand. New Tesla Model Y. Its paint was a deep electric blue, unlike any color Marcus had seen on a Tesla before. The wheels were polished to a mirror shine, and the car looked like it was moving even while standing still. A collective "ooh" went up from the gathered employees. Someone started clapping, and soon the whole room joined in. Marcus stood frozen, admiring the beautiful vehicle but confused about why Elon had wanted to show it to him. "This is our new Model Y performance," Elon explained to the room. "We've made some significant improvements to the battery and motor efficiency. It can now travel up to 350 miles on a single charge and go from 0 to 60 in just 3.5 seconds. Saptutvi oi, employees nodded appreciatively, many taking photos with their phones. "But today isn't just about the car," Elon continued. "It's about something new we're launching at Tesla." He turned to face the crowd more directly. "As you all know, Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. We build cars, batteries, and solar products that help move us toward a cleaner future." The employees listened attentively. "But this mission isn't just about technology," Elon said. "It's about people. People who believe in the same vision and work to make it happen in their own communities." He gestured to Marcus. "Like Marcus here. As a science teacher, he inspired hundreds of students to care about renewable energy and sustainable technology. He built solar projects with his classes and coached a championship-winning solar car team." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. How did Elon know all these details? "Today," Elon announced, "we're launching a new program called Tesla Heroes. Each month, we'll recognize someone who's making a difference in their community. Someone who embodies the spirit of innovation and sustainability that Tesla stands for." The room buzzed with excitement. "And our first Tesla hero," Elon said, placing a hand on Marcus's shoulder, "is Marcus Johnson." The crowd erupted in applause. Marcus felt his face flush with embarrassment and confusion. "I don't understand," he whispered to Elon. "How do you know about my teaching career?" Elon smiled mysteriously. "All in good time. But first," he turned back to the crowd. "As part of the Tesla Heroes program, each honoree will receive a new Tesla vehicle to help them continue their important work." He held up a key fob and pressed it into Marcus's hand. "This Model Y is yours, Marcus." Marcus stared at the key fob, then at Elon, then at the gleaming blue car. I can't accept this. It's too much. I don't deserve it." "You do," Elon said firmly. "More than you know." Marcus shook his head. "There must be some mistake. I'm just an Uber driver. I'm not a hero." "You were a dedicated teacher who inspired young minds," Elon replied. "And now you're a father who gave up his career to care for his daughter. That sounds like a hero to me." Marcus felt tears welling in his eyes. He looked down, trying to compose himself. "I appreciate the thought, but I can't take this. There are people who have done much more than I have." Elon studied Marcus for a moment, then nodded thoughtfully. "Everyone, thank you for coming. Please, give us a moment." The employees began to disperse, returning to their workstations. Some came up to shake Marcus's hand or pat him on the back before leaving. When the room had emptied except for a few Tesla executives, Elon guided Marcus to a quiet corner. "Marcus, I understand your hesitation, but there's something you should know. This isn't a random act of kindness or a publicity stunt." "Then what is it?" Marcus asked. Elon pulled out his phone and opened an email. "3 weeks ago, I received this letter. It was forwarded to me by our HR department." He handed the phone to Marcus. "Read it." Marcus took the phone and began to read. "Dear Mr. Musk, my name is Miguel Rodriguez. I'm a sophomore studying mechanical engineering at the University of Texas at Austin, and I recently started an internship at Tesla's Gigafactory, Texas. I'm writing to tell you about someone who changed my life. My high school science teacher, Mr. Marcus Johnson." Marcus looked up sharply. "Miguel? My Miguel?" Elon nodded. "Keep reading." Marcus continued. "Mr. Johnson taught me everything about renewable energy and electric vehicles. He stayed after school for hours to help our solar car team prepare for competitions. Because of him, I'm studying engineering today. Because of him, I dreamed of working at Tesla. But 3 years ago, Mr. Johnson suddenly left teaching. None of us knew why. He just didn't come back after spring break. Our principal said it was for personal reasons. Last month, I took an Uber in Austin, and the driver was Mr. Johnson. He didn't recognize me at first. I was just a sophomore when he left. When I told him who I was, he seemed both happy and sad. He told me he had to leave teaching because his daughter got sick. He said driving for Uber lets him make his own schedule so he can take her to doctor appointments and be there when she needs him. Mr. Johnson told me he's proud that I'm studying engineering and working at Tesla. He said it made all his years of teaching worth it. Mr. Musk, I don't know if you'll ever read this letter, but if you do, I want you to know that people like Mr. Johnson are the reason your company exists. They inspire the next generation of engineers and scientists who will build a sustainable future. If there's any way Tesla could help Mr. Johnson, I think he deserves it more than anyone. Sincerely, Miguel Rodriguez. Marcus handed the phone back to Elon, his hands trembling slightly. I had no idea, he whispered. Miguel didn't want you to know he wrote to me, Elon said. He was afraid. You might be embarrassed. But he wanted to do something for the teacher who changed his life. Marcus wiped his eyes. Miguel was always a special kid, so bright, so passionate. He's going to be a fantastic engineer, Elon agreed. He's already impressing his supervisors here. I'm so proud of him, Marcus said softly. Elon gestured to the blue Model Y. Now, do you understand why we want you to have this car? It's not just about recognizing your past contributions. It's about enabling your future ones. I still don't know if I can accept it, Marcus said. Think of it this way, Elon replied. You won't be spending money on gas anymore. You can use those savings for Sophia's care. And when you're ready to return to teaching, which Miguel thinks you will be someday, you'll have a car that can inspire a whole new generation of students. Marcus looked at the car, then back at Elon. There's more to this story, isn't there? Miguel's letter doesn't explain how you knew so many details about my teaching career. Elon smiled enigmatically. You're right. There is more. But before I tell you the rest, there's someone else who wants to say hello. He nodded toward the door, where a tall young man in a Tesla uniform stood nervously. Miguel? Marcus gasped. The young man walked forward, a shy smile on his face. He was taller than Marcus remembered, his shoulders broader. No longer the gangly sophomore from Eastside High, Miguel had grown into a confident young man. But his eyes were the same, bright with curiosity and intelligence. Hi, Mr. J, Miguel said. Surprise! Without hesitation, Marcus stepped forward and hugged his former student. "I can't believe it's you. You work here?" Miguel nodded proudly. "Internship in the battery engineering department. Started 3 months ago." "Why didn't you tell me when we met in the Uber?" Marcus asked. "I had just applied for the internship then," Miguel explained. "Wasn't sure I'd get it. And—" He hesitated. "I was working on something." Elon stepped forward. "Miguel has been helping us with a special project. That's partly why I wanted you to come to the factory today." Marcus looked between them, confused. "I don't understand." "Show him," Elon said to Miguel. Miguel pulled a tablet from his bag and tapped the screen a few times. "Mr. J, remember our solar car project? How you taught us about maximizing efficiency?" "Of course," Marcus replied. "You took those lessons further than I could have imagined." "Well, I've been applying those principles here," Miguel said proudly. "I've been working on improving the battery cooling system in the Model Y. It's still experimental, but early tests show a 5% increase in range." "That's incredible, Miguel," Marcus said, genuinely impressed. "What Miguel isn't telling you," Elon's added, "is that his design might be integrated into our next production update. That's almost unheard of for an intern." Miguel blushed. "It's not finalized yet." "Still," Elon continued, "it shows the kind of talent you helped develop, Marcus. Miguel credits you with inspiring his interest in engineering." "Miguel was always exceptional," Marcus said. "I just gave him some tools and got out of his way." "That's not how I remember it," Miguel replied. "You stayed after school almost every day to help us. You used your own money to buy parts when the school budget ran out. You drove us to competitions in your car when the school bus broke down." Marcus shrugged. "Any teacher would have done the same." "No," Miguel said firmly. "They wouldn't. That's why I wrote the letter." Elon held up his phone again. Miguel's letter was moving, but it wasn't just his words that convinced me to start the Tesla Heroes program. It was what he included with it. "There's more?" Marcus asked. Miguel nodded. "After I saw you driving Uber, I went through my old high school stuff. I found something I thought Mr. Musk should see." From his bag, Miguel pulled out a worn notebook. He handed it to Marcus, who recognized it immediately. It was one of the project journals his students kept during the solar car competition. "Open it to page 42, Miguel said. Marcus flipped through the pages. There, in Miguel's neat handwriting from 3 years ago, was a detailed design for a solar-powered vehicle. The title at the top read, "Future Tesla Model for 2030? "You designed a Tesla?" Marcus asked, looking at the drawings. "I was dreaming big," Miguel said with a smile. "But look at what I wrote at the bottom," Marcus read aloud. "Dedicated to Mr. Johnson, who taught us that sustainable transportation is the future. Someday, I'll work for Tesla and help build cars like this." "You predicted the future," Marcus said softly. "That's not all," Miguel said. He took the notebook and flipped to the last page. "Read this." It was a photocopy of an article from the U school newspaper. The headline read, "Science Teacher Inspires Future Engineers." The article described Marcus's teaching method and the success of the solar car team. There was a photo of Marcus and his students, including Miguel, holding their second-place trophy from the state competition. "I included this with my letter to Mr. Musk," Miguel explained. "I wanted him to see the kind of teacher you were. How you changed lives." Elon took the notebook and studied the article. "When I read this and saw the photo, I knew we had to do something. Teachers like you, Marcus, they're rare, and they deserve recognition." Marcus felt overwhelmed. "I was just doing my job." Your job was to teach science, Miguel said. But you did so much more. You showed us how to use science to make the world better. Elon handed the notebook back to Miguel. There's one more thing you should know, Marcus. The Tesla Heroes program was already being discussed internally. But your story, shared by Miguel, helped shape what it became. How so? Marcus asked. Originally, it was going to be focused on environmental activists and clean energy advocates, Elon explained. But Miguel's letter reminded us that teachers are often the first ones to inspire the next generation of innovators. So we expanded the focus to include educators. And you're the first, Miguel added proudly. Marcus shook his head, still processing everything. I don't know what to say. Say you'll accept the car, Elon suggested. It would mean a lot to Miguel. And to me. Marcus looked at the gleaming blue Model Y, then at his former student, now a Tesla intern. Miguel, you did all this for me? You changed my life, Mr. J, Miguel said simply. I just wanted to return the favor. Marcus felt a lump in his throat. What about Sophia? How did you know about her? Miguel looked down. When we met in the Uber, you mentioned she was sick. I could tell it was serious by how you talked about her. Then I did some research. Research? Marcus asked. I found a GoFundMe that Maria started 2 years ago for Sophia's treatments, Miguel admitted. That's how I learned more about her condition. That's when I knew I had to do something to help. Marcus remembered the fundraiser. It had helped them through a particularly difficult period when their insurance had denied coverage for a specialized treatment. Mr. J, Miguel said hesitantly, there's something else you should know. Something I included in my letter to Mr. Musk, but didn't say directly to you in the Uber. What is it? Marcus asked. Miguel took a deep breath. Sophia's science project, the one about making hospitals more energy efficient. I saw it online. It won a regional competition for middle schoolers. Marcus nodded, surprised. Yes, she worked on it during a long hospital stay last year. How did you know about that? Because it reminded me of something you used to say in class, Miguel replied. Science doesn't just explain the world, it makes it better. Sophia wrote that exact quote in her project description. Marcus felt tears welling up again. She remembered. She's following in your footsteps, Mr. J, Miguel said, just like I did. Elon, who had been listening quietly, stepped forward. Marcus, now do you understand why we want you to be our first Tesla hero? Marcus took a deep breath and nodded slowly. I think I'm starting to. But there's something you both should know about Sophia. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. From inside, he carefully removed a small photo and handed it to Elon and Miguel. This is Sophia, he said quietly. It was taken 2 months ago. The photo showed a smiling 12-year-old girl with curly dark hair like Marcus's. She was sitting in a hospital bed, surrounded by books and papers. Despite the medical setting, her eyes were bright and curious. She was holding up a small model of what looked like a solar panel array. She's beautiful, Elon said. She looks just like you, Mr. J, Miguel added. Marcus smiled proudly. She's much smarter than I ever was, and braver too. Tell us about her, Elon said, handing the photo back. Marcus carefully returned the photo to his wallet. 3 years ago, Sophia was a regular 9-year-old. Active, healthy, always asking questions about how things worked. She loved coming to my classroom after school, doing experiments with the leftover materials. His voice softened. Then one day, she collapsed during PE class. High fever, trouble breathing. We thought it was pneumonia at first. Marcus paused, collecting himself. After a week of tests, the doctors diagnosed her with a rare autoimmune condition. Her immune system was attacking her own tissues. They started treatments right away, but there were complications. "That's when you left teaching," Miguel said quietly. Marcus nodded. "I had to. Sophia needed frequent hospital visits, sometimes with no warning. As a teacher, I couldn't just leave 25 students whenever my phone rang." "What about Maria?" Elon asked. "You mentioned she's a nurse?" "Maria is amazing," Marcus said. "She works nights at Dell Children's Hospital 3 days a week. We arranged our schedules so one of us is always with Sophia. But someone needed a flexible job, and driving for Uber made the most sense." "How is Sophia doing now?" Miguel asked. A small smile appeared on Marcus's face. "Better, actually. The past 6 months have shown real improvement. Her doctor started her on a new treatment protocol, and it seems to be working. She's been able to attend school more regularly. She even joined the science club." "That's great news," Miguel said enthusiastically. "It is," Marcus agreed, "but the treatments are ongoing, and there are still bad days. That's why the flexible schedule is still so important." Elon gestured toward the blue Model Y. "A Tesla would help with that, wouldn't it? No more gas stations, lower maintenance costs. It would help enormously," Marcus admitted, "but it still feels like too much." "Tell us more about Sophia's interest in science," Miguel suggested. "I saw her project online, but what else is she into?" Marcus's face lit up the way it only could when a father talks about his child. "Everything. Solar power, electric vehicles, space exploration. Her room is filled with books about renewable energy and sustainable technology. She even has a poster of the Gigafactory on her wall." "Really?" Elon asked, looking surprised. "Yes," Marcus laughed. "She cut it out of a magazine article about Tesla. She thinks what you're doing here is important." "Smart kid," Elon said with a smile. "Last year," Marcus continued, "during one of her longer hospital stays, she started designing that energy system for hospitals. She noticed how much power the building used and started researching ways to make it more efficient." "Using solar panels?" Miguel asked. "Solar panels, improved insulation, energy recovery systems," Marcus nodded. "She even calculated the potential cost savings. The nurses were amazed. They helped her enter it in a science competition." "And she won," Miguel added. "Regional first place," Marcus said proudly. "She couldn't attend the awards ceremony. She was having a treatment that day. But they brought the trophy to her hospital room. It was one of the happiest days we've had." Marcus looked at the Model Y again. "Sophia would love this car. Blue is her favorite color." "Tell us about your typical day," Elon said. "With Sophia's condition and your Uber driving." Marcus sighed. "I start driving at 5 a.m., work until 2:30 p.m., so I can pick Sophia up from school. Tuesdays and Thursdays are her treatment days, so I don't work afternoons those days. Maria takes mornings when she's not working nights." "Sounds exhausting," Elon observed. "It can be," Marcus admitted, "but we make it work. The hardest part is when Sophia has a flare-up and ends up hospitalized. Those can happen with no warning." "Has she had many of those?" Miguel asked. 7. "In the past 3 years," Marcus replied. "The longest stay was 3 weeks. The medical bills?" He shook his head. "Insurance helps, but there's always something that isn't covered." "Is that what the GoFundMe was for?" Miguel asked gently. Marcus nodded. "There was a treatment our insurance wouldn't cover. It was experimental then. That's actually the treatment that's been helping her the most." "Mr. J," Miguel said hesitantly, "can I ask what Sophia thinks about you leaving teaching?" Does she know why you did it? She knows, Marcus said quietly. She feels guilty sometimes, thinks it's her fault. I tell her it was my choice, the best choice I ever made, but it's hard for her to accept. Does she talk about when you'll go back to teaching? Elon asked. All the time, Marcus smiled sadly. She keeps saying, when I get better, you can teach again, Daddy. It's her way of staying positive, I think. And would you? Elon pressed. If her condition improved enough, would you return to the classroom? Marcus looked at Miguel, then back at Elon. In a heartbeat. Teaching wasn't just my job, it was who I am. Elon nodded thoughtfully. I have one more question. What does Sophia want to be when she grows up? Marcus smiled, a genuine full smile. Before she got sick, she wanted to be an astronaut. Now, she says she wants to be a doctor who designs sustainable hospitals, healing people and the planet at the same time. That's how she puts it. She sounds remarkable, Elon said. She is, Marcus agreed. Everything I did as a teacher, inspiring students like Miguel to care about science and sustainability, Sophia does that naturally. She never gives up, never stops learning, never stops believing she can make a difference. He looked at the Tesla again, then back at Elon and Miguel. That's why I find it hard to accept this gift. The real hero in our family is Sophia. She's the one fighting every day, still dreaming about changing the world from a hospital bed. Miguel stepped forward. Mr. J, that's exactly why you should accept it. Not for yourself, but for Sophia. Think about what this car could mean for her. What do you mean? Marcus asked. Miguel and Elon exchanged glances. It was clear they knew something Marcus didn't. There's one more part to this story, Elon said. Something Miguel discovered when he was researching Sophia's condition. Miguel stepped forward, looking both nervous and excited. Mr. J, do you remember when I was looking at Sophia's science project online? Marcus nodded. You mentioned that earlier. Well, I noticed something in one of the photos, Miguel continued. She had a binder labeled clinical trial information next to her bed. Marcus's eyes widened. How did you? I was curious. Miguel admitted. So I did some research on clinical trials for her condition. There's a new one at the University of Texas Medical Center in Houston. It started 6 months ago, the same time Sophia started showing improvement, Marcus whispered. Is she in that trial? Elon asked. Marcus nodded slowly. Yes, we were lucky to get her accepted. It's showing promising results, but it means driving to Houston twice a month. For treatments. Houston is almost 170 miles from Austin, Miguel added, looking at Elon. That's a lot of gas money and wear on a car with 150,000 miles. Elon's expression changed as understanding dawned. So the Tesla wouldn't just be a gift? It would be a practical tool for Sophia's ongoing care. Exactly, Miguel said. But there's more. He pulled out his tablet again and opened a document. The clinical trial has a second phase starting in 3 months. More intensive treatments, but potentially more effective. We're hoping Sophia will qualify, Marcus said. Her doctor thinks she has a good chance based on her response so far. The second phase requires weekly visits, Miguel continued. That's a 340-mile round trip every week. In my current car, Marcus began. It would be expensive and potentially unreliable, Elon finished for him. But in a Tesla, you'd save on fuel costs and the car would be under warranty. Marcus looked at the gleaming blue Model Y again, seeing it in a new light. So, that's why you chose this particular model? The Model Y long range has one of the best ranges in our lineup, Elon explained. Perfect for those Houston trips. and the blue color was Miguel's suggestion. Sophia's favorite, Marcus said softly. There's one more thing, Miguel said, looking slightly embarrassed. When I found out about the clinical trial, I contacted the research team, just to learn more about it. You did what? Marcus asked, surprised. I didn't mention Sophia by name, Miguel assured him quickly. I just asked general questions about the program. The lead researcher, Dr. Chen, explained that transportation is one of the biggest barriers for participants. Some families drop out because they can't consistently make the trips. Elon nodded. That matches what we found in our research. Access to reliable transportation is a social determinant of health outcomes. So the Tesla, Marcus began, could help ensure Sophia completes the full trial, Miguel finished, which could make a real difference in her recovery. Marcus was silent for a moment, processing everything. I don't know what to say. Elon placed a hand on his shoulder. Say you'll accept it, not as a reward for your teaching, though you deserve that too, but as a tool to help Sophia. Marcus looked at the car, then at Miguel, then back at Elon. When you put it that way, yes, I accept. Thank you. Elon smiled. Excellent. He handed Marcus the key fob. It's fully charged and ready to go. All the paperwork has been taken care of. All of it? Marcus asked, surprised. Registration, insurance, everything, Elon confirmed. The Tesla Heroes program is comprehensive. Marcus shook his head in disbelief. This morning I was just an Uber driver picking up a passenger. Now you're still you, Miguel said, but with a better car. Marcus laughed, the tension of the day finally breaking. Sophia is going to flip when she sees this. When will you show her? Elon asked. Marcus checked his watch. She has a doctor's appointment this afternoon at 4 on. I could pick her up in this instead of my Toyota. Perfect, Elon said. The employees who were here earlier are eager to see your reaction when you drive it for the first time. Would you mind if we recorded it for our internal Tesla Heroes program launch? I suppose that would be okay, Marcus agreed. Great, Elon said. And maybe someday, when Sophia is feeling up to it, you could bring her here for a tour of the factory. She would love that, Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. Miguel stepped forward and handed Marcus a small envelope. This is from me, a small gift to go with the car. Marcus opened it and found a keychain with a miniature solar panel. That actually worked. It powered a tiny LED light when exposed to light. I made it in the lab here, Miguel explained, to remind you of our solar car days. Thank you, Miguel, Marcus said, giving his former student another hug. For everything. As they walked back toward the covered Model Y, Marcus felt a lightness he hadn't experienced in years. The weight of worry he carried every day seemed a little less heavy. Ready to try out your new car? Elon asked. Marcus nodded, still somewhat dazed by the turn of events. Yes, I need to learn how everything works before I pick up Sophia. Don't worry, Miguel said with a smile. I'll give you a crash course. Not literally, of course. As Elon and Miguel showed Marcus the features of his new Tesla, he couldn't help thinking about Sophia's face when she would see it. For the first time in 3 years, he felt like he could give her something special. Not just the car itself, but the hope it represented. And maybe, just maybe, this was the first step toward returning to the classroom someday, just as Sophia had always believed he would. After an hour of learning the Tesla's features, Marcus felt comfortable enough to drive it. The car was unlike anything he'd ever experienced. Quiet, smooth, and incredibly responsive. The large touch screen controlled almost everything, from the air conditioning to the navigation system. Remember, You don't need to press the brake to start it, Miguel reminded him as Marcus sat in the driver's seat. Just put your foot on the brake and shift into drive. Marcus did as instructed, and the car silently came to life. The display lit up with a detailed map showing the Gigafactory and surrounding roads. The battery is at 95%, Elon pointed out. More than enough to get you home and to Sophia's appointment. There's a supercharger near the hospital if you need it later. I've set up your phone as a key too, Miguel added, showing Marcus the Tesla app on his phone. So even if you forget the key fob, you can still use your phone to unlock and drive the car. Marcus nodded, still somewhat overwhelmed. This is incredible technology. It's intuitive, Elon assured him. After a day or two, it will feel natural. As Marcus prepared to leave, Elon handed him a business card. My direct number, he explained. If you have any questions or issues with the car, call me. And please let me know how Sophia reacts. I will, Marcus promised. Thank you, Elon, for everything. Thank Miguel, Elon replied. He's the one who brought your story to my attention. Marcus turned to his former student. I'm so proud of you, Miguel. Not just for this, but for following your dreams. You're going to do amazing things here. Miguel smiled, clearly emotional. All because of what you taught me, Mr. J. With final goodbyes, Marcus drove away from the Gigafactory, watching in the rearview mirror as Elon and Miguel grew smaller in the distance. The Tesla moved smoothly along the highway, accelerating effortlessly when Marcus pressed the pedal. This is unbelievable, he said aloud to himself. He couldn't wait to call Maria, but decided to wait until he could pull over safely. At a rest stop just off Highway 130, Marcus parked and took out his phone. Maria answered on the second ring. Hey, everything okay? She asked. Marcus rarely called during his driving hours. Everything's better than okay, he replied. Something amazing happened today. I can't even begin to explain it over the phone. What is it? Maria sounded concerned. Is it about Sophia? No, she's fine, Marcus assured her quickly. Remember, my passenger this morning? The one going to the Tesla factory? Yes, it was Elon Musk. There was silence on the other end of the line. Marcus, are you serious? Completely serious. And Maria, he gave me a car, a Tesla Model Y. Another long pause. You're not joking? I'm sitting in it right now, Marcus laughed. It's blue, Sophia's favorite color. It's fully paid for, including insurance. I'm driving it to pick up Sophia from her appointment this afternoon. I don't understand, Maria said, her voice full of disbelief. Why would Elon Musk give you a car? It's a long story. One of my former students works at Tesla now, Miguel Rodriguez. Remember I told you about him? The brilliant kid from my solar car team? I think so. He wrote to Elon about me, about how I left teaching for Sophia, about her condition. They've started a program called Tesla Heroes, and somehow I'm the first recipient. Marcus, I don't have words. I know. I still can't believe it either, he paused. There's more. They know about Sophia's clinical trial in Houston. The car will make those trips so much easier. Maria's voice cracked slightly. Oh, Marcus, that's wonderful. When do you finish your shift? Marcus asked. I want to pick you up in the new car. I'm done at 3:30, but I thought you were taking Sophia to her appointment at 4:06. I am. Why don't you meet us at the hospital? We can surprise Sophia together. Perfect, Maria agreed. I can't wait to see it, and to hear the whole story. After ending the call, Marcus sat for a moment, still processing the events of the day. Then he realized he needed to update his Uber account. He wouldn't be driving for them anymore today. As he completed the steps to go offline, a notification appeared on his phone. It was an email from Uber customer service. "We noticed you've gone offline earlier than usual. Is everything okay with your vehicle? Please let us know if you need assistance." Marcus smiled and typed a response. "Everything is fine. In fact, everything is better than fine. I've just received a new car and need to update my vehicle information." He attached a photo of the Tesla and pressed send, imagining the surprise of whoever would read his message. Back on the road, Marcus felt a strange sense of freedom. The Tesla drove so smoothly, it seemed to float over the pavement. The acceleration was instant. No lag, no engine noise, just pure motion. He thought about all the hours he'd spent in his old Toyota, picking up passengers, making small talk, watching the gas gauge, calculating how many more rides he needed to cover that week's expenses. The Tesla would change all of that. As he approached the hospital, Marcus felt nervous excitement building. How would Sophia react? Would she understand what this meant for their family? He found a parking spot near the entrance, making sure to choose one where the car would be visible from the main doors. He wanted Sophia to see it as soon as she came out. Checking his watch, he saw it was 3:40 p.m. Maria would arrive soon, and then they would go in together to get Sophia after her appointment. Right on time, Maria appeared, still wearing her nurse's scrubs. She stopped short when she saw the Tesla, her hands flying to her mouth. "Oh my goodness," she said, as Marcus got out to greet her. "It's beautiful." They hugged tightly, Maria's eyes filling with tears as she looked at the car. "I can't believe this is happening." "Neither can I," Marcus admitted. "But it's real." He showed her the interior, explaining the features Miguel and Elon had demonstrated. Maria ran her hand over the sleek dashboard, shaking her head in wonder. "And it's really ours? No payments? Nothing?" "All ours," Marcus confirmed. Elon said, "It's part of the Tesla Heroes program. They take care of everything." Maria checked her watch. "It's almost 4 p.m. We should go in." Together, they walked into the hospital, a place they had visited hundreds of times over the past 3 years. But today felt different. Today, they carried good news. They found Sophia in the examination room, sitting on the edge of the bed while Dr. Rivera reviewed some charts. Sophia's face lit up when she saw both her parents. "Mom, I thought you were working today." "I got off early," Maria said, hugging her daughter. "How did it go?" Marcus asked Dr. Rivera. The doctor smiled. "Very well. Sophia's numbers continue to improve. The trial medication seems to be working effectively." "That's great news," Marcus said, relief flowing through him. After completing the paperwork and scheduling Sophia's next appointment, they prepared to leave. Marcus and Maria exchanged excited glances. "Sophia," Marcus said casually, "we have a small surprise for you outside." "A surprise?" Sophia perked up. "What kind of surprise?" "You'll see," Maria said, taking her hand. As they walked through the hospital corridors, Marcus could hardly contain his excitement. They pushed through the main doors, and Marcus pointed to the blue Tesla parked prominently in the lot. "See that blue car over there?" he asked. Sophia nodded. "The Tesla? It's cool." "It's ours," Marcus said simply. Sophia looked confused. "What? Do you mean?" "It's our car now," Marcus explained. "Someone gave it to us today." "A Tesla? Someone gave us a Tesla?" Sophia's eyes widened in disbelief. "Are you joking?" "Not joking," Maria assured her. "Come see it." They walked to the car, Sophia's pace quickening with each step. When they reached it, she circled it slowly, her expression a mixture of awe and confusion. "Who would give us a Tesla?" she asked. "It's a long story," Marcus said, opening the door. "For her. I'll tell you all about it on the way home." 6 months later, Marcus stood at the front of a classroom at Eastside High School. The familiar smell of dry erase markers and science lab chemicals filled the air. Posters about renewable energy and climate science decorated the walls. It wasn't his old classroom, that now belonged to another teacher, but it was similar. "And that concludes our tour of the Tesla Gigafactory," Marcus said to the 30 students seated before him. "Any questions?" A dozen hands shot up immediately. Marcus smiled and pointed to a girl in the front row. "Mr. Johnson, is it true that you actually met Elon Musk?" she asked. "I did," Marcus confirmed. "He was my Uber passenger, and then he gave me a tour of the factory himself." "And that's how you got the Tesla?" another student called out. Marcus nodded, glancing out the window where his blue Model Y was parked in the teacher's lot. "That's right. It was part of their Tesla Heroes program." "Will we get to ride in it on the field trip next week?" asked a boy near the back. "Some of you will," Marcus replied. "We'll take the school bus for most of the class, but I can take 5 students in the Tesla." The classroom erupted in excited chatter. Marcus held up his hand for quiet. "Remember, the spots. In my car, go to the students with the best renewable energy projects. I'll announce the winners on Friday." Just then, there was a knock at the classroom door. Principal Watkins entered, followed by a familiar face that made Marcus smile. "Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Johnson," Principal Watkins said, "but your guest speaker has arrived. Miguel Rodriguez, now in his junior year at UT Austin and still interning at Tesla, stepped into the room." The students whispered excitedly. "Thanks for coming, Miguel," Marcus said. "Class, this is Miguel Rodriguez, one of my former students, who now works at Tesla. He's going to tell you about careers in renewable energy and electric vehicle technology." As Miguel set up his presentation, Marcus felt a deep sense of satisfaction. He was back where he belonged, in the classroom, teaching science, inspiring the next generation of innovators. After 6 months of consistent treatment in Houston, Sophia's condition had improved dramatically. Her doctors were calling it a remarkable response. She still needed monitoring, but the weekly trips to Houston had paid off better than anyone had expected. With Sophia's health more stable, Marcus had been able to return to teaching, part-time. At first, just 3 days a week. The Tesla had made it all possible, not just because of the easier trips to Houston, but because of the connections it had created. Elon had kept in touch, checking in on Sophia's progress. When Marcus mentioned his desire to return to teaching, Elon had called Principal Watkins personally to discuss a flexible teaching arrangement. The school board had been more than willing to accommodate a teacher whose story had been featured in Tesla's promotional materials. Now, as Miguel began his presentation, Marcus's phone buzzed with a text message. It was from Maria. Sophia just got her science fair results. "First place! She's over the moon!" The judges loved her hospital energy efficiency project. Marcus smiled and quickly texted back. "Tell her congratulations. Can't wait to celebrate tonight." After class, as the students filed out, Miguel helped Marcus gather materials for the next day's lesson. "How's Sophia doing with the new coding class?" Miguel asked. "Loving it," Marcus replied. "She's already talking about building an app to help patients track their carbon footprint during hospital stays." Miguel laughed. "That sounds exactly like something you would have assigned as a project." "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree," Marcus agreed. They walked to the parking lot together, where the blue Tesla waited. "By the way," Miguel said, Elon mentioned that he'd like Sophia to present her hospital energy project at the Tesla shareholders meeting next month. He thinks it aligns perfectly with their new healthcare sustainability initiative. Marcus stopped in his tracks. "Are you serious?" "Completely," Miguel nodded. Tesla is looking at ways to partner with hospitals on renewable energy solutions. Sophia's project could be highlighted as inspiration. "She'll be thrilled," Marcus said, trying to imagine his daughter presenting to thousands of Tesla shareholders and executives. As they reached the car, Marcus unlocked it with his phone. The door handles extended smoothly. "You know," Miguel said, thoughtfully, "when I wrote that letter to Elon, I never imagined all this would happen. I just wanted to help you get a more reliable car for Uber driving. And instead, it changed everything," Marcus said. "Not just the car itself, but what it represented, what it made possible." They both looked at the Tesla, remembering that day 6 months ago at the Gigafactory. "The car itself didn't change our lives," Marcus said quietly. "It was the opportunities it created. Sophia being able to complete her clinical trial, me being able to return to teaching, you mentoring my students." "Full circle," Miguel nodded. After saying goodbye to Miguel, Marcus drove home, reflecting on how much had changed in half a year. The Tesla hummed silently beneath him, familiar now after thousands of miles. When he pulled into the driveway, Sophia was waiting on the front porch, her science fair certificate in hand. She no longer looked like the fragile girl in the hospital bed. Her cheeks were fuller, her energy restored. "Dad!" she called out, running to meet him as he parked. "First place!" "And guess what? My science teacher says I should consider engineering as a career." Marcus hugged her tightly. "I'm so proud of you, Soph." As they walked inside together, Sophia looked back at the blue Tesla in the driveway. "Dad," she said thoughtfully, "do you think I could work at Tesla someday? Like Miguel?" Marcus smiled, his heart full. "I think you can do anything you set your mind to." "Maybe I'll design their hospital solar systems," Sophia continued excitedly. "Or work on making electric ambulances." "One step at a time," Marcus laughed. "But yes, I think Tesla would be lucky to have you someday." And in that moment, Marcus knew that the true gift hadn't been the car itself. It had been hope. Hope for Sophia's health, hope for his return to teaching, and hope for a future where his daughter could follow her dreams, just as Miguel had followed his. That was the real reason Elon Musk had given away a Tesla. Not for publicity or praise, but because he understood that sometimes the right tool at the right moment could open doors that seemed permanently closed. And that was something worth crying about. I hope Marcus, Sophia, and Elon's unexpected encounter touched your heart today. Sometimes the greatest gifts aren't just about their monetary value, but about the doors they open and the hope they provide. Where are you listening from? Drop your location in the comments below. I love seeing how we connect from around the world. If this video moved you, please take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming accounts of everyday heroes, unexpected kindness, and moments that remind us of our shared humanity. Until next time, remember that sometimes the most meaningful changes in our lives come when we least expect them.